Hey everyone, Robot here. In this video we'll talk about how to counter the Shape or Michael Myers. I made a video on how to counter stealth killers a few weeks ago, and some people requested one where I talk about how to counter Myers since one of his playstyles is a full stealth build. However, he's a killer that can actually be played in 4 different styles, at least that's how I see it. Number 1, full stealth build with the add-on Scratch Mirror, which is the build that prompted people requesting this video, since I didn't include him in the stealth killers video I made because I wanted to make a separate video to cover Myers' different playstyles. Number 2, semi-stealth build with the add-ons Vanity Mirror and Dead Rabbit. Number 3, the build that allows him to kill or Mori survivors with the add-ons Tombstone Piece or Judith's Tombstone. Man, that's kinda hard to pronounce. Number 4, let's call this normal build, which allows Myers to put survivors in the dying state while in Evil Within tier 3, and not using any of the previously mentioned add-ons. Before we start talking about the first 2 playstyles, if you haven't already, you can check out my video on how to counter stealth killers, since the general tips section in that video applies to the first 2 playstyles for Myers. You can click on the card on the upper right corner of your screen to watch the video on how to counter stealth killers. Go ahead, you can do that real quick, then come back. Don't worry, I'll wait. Alright, let's get into it. Myers can permanently have no terror radius or red stain by using the add-on called Scratch Mirror. This add-on allows him to see survivors through walls whenever he stalks and survivors are within 32 meters. And of course, as mentioned, he stays in Evil Within tier 1, meaning he has no terror radius and his red stain is hidden for the entirety of the match. One disadvantage for Myers while he's in tier 1 is that base kit, without the use of perks, he moves at 4.2 meters per second, which is only 5% faster than survivors when typically base kit killers move 10 or 15% faster than survivors. I'll leave the different build combinations around Scratch Mirror for another video, but I'll mention this. Most likely, the people playing Myers will include the perk Play With Your Food to make him walk faster and perks that help gen regression in their build. The second playstyle is semi-stealth, which Myers achieves by using the combination of add-ons Dead Rabbit and Vanity Mirror. Vanity Mirror allows him to see the auras of survivors that are within 16 meters when he stalks. This add-on also keeps him at tier 2 even if he continues to stalk. His terror radius at tier 2 is 16 meters. However, with the add-on Dead Rabbit, he reduces his terror radius by 25%, which then becomes only 12 meters. Now, typically, this combo of add-ons is complemented by the perk Monitor and Abuse, since it can reduce the terror radius by an additional 8 meters while not in chase, which is when it matters in this particular case, so he can sneak up on survivors, bringing Myers' terror radius to only 4 meters. And you thought you weren't going to do math while watching this video. Lastly, base kit, Myers moves at 4.6 meters per second in tier 2, which is 15% faster than survivors. By the way, I made a video about this build when playing as Myers, and if you're interested in watching it, you can click on the card on the upper right corner of your screen. Now let's talk counters. Number 1. This tip applies to all 4 playstyles. When you see Myers stalking you, try to lose line of sight as quickly as you can. If he can't see you, he can't build up his Evil Within gauge or meter. I should mention that him stalking you while he's using the Scratch Mirror add-on won't really matter since he can't tear up. But since you won't know right away at the beginning of the match, lose line of sight just in case. Myers can stalk survivors up to 40 meters away. Technically, it's 39.85 meters according to the Dead by Daylight Wiki page. By the way, big shout out to that page as it's a wealth of knowledge. I'll leave the page link in the description below if you want to check it out. How fast Myers can build up his Evil Within depends on how far the survivors are when he stalks. The farther away the survivors, the longer it takes for him to build up his Evil Within meter, and the closer he is to survivors when stalking, the faster the meter builds up. Number 2. This tip applies specifically to Scratch Mirror Myers, not Vanity Mirror Myers. As mentioned earlier, Myers is only 5% faster than survivors when he's in tier 1, unless he has racked up some Play With Your Food stacks. Not only that, but his lunge is also reduced while in tier 1. So do you know what this means? This means you can greet pallets a little more than usual because his baby lunge plus his slower movement make it harder for him to catch up to survivors. And to be honest, if a Scratch Mirror Myers focuses too much on chase, he won't get a lot of hooks. So run around those pallet tiles as long as you can. Just be careful around tiles where you can't see him very clearly. He could mind game you, but if you're paying attention, you may be able to react fast enough whenever he changes direction at a tile. Also, Myers is a tall killer, so you can keep an eye on him around most tiles. A big advantage for survivors is also the fact that Myers cannot build up Bloodlust while in tier 1, meaning he cannot start walking faster just because he stays in chase for a long time. The rest of the tips apply to both Scratch Mirror and Vanity Mirror Myers. Whenever possible, try to work on gens in areas you can see Myers coming. This, of course, is usually difficult since if played properly, Myers will send you to an indoor map so you won't have a lot of visibility, and his playstyle will be to sneak up on you for an easy hit. But if there are gens in hallways or rooms that allow you to look around, work on those first. Number 4. Take advantage of the heads-up display, or HUD, by paying attention to when a survivor is being chased. This is depicted by the small or big tentacles moving around the character's portrait. If you see someone in chase, that means you can safely go and work on a gen without worrying about Myers sneaking up on you. Always stay alert though, since Myers could change targets quickly and come to your location. Or if the survivor getting chased actually takes him to your location. Number 5. Stay healthy as much as possible. Repairing gens or getting caught out of position injured will make it easier for Myers to put pressure on survivors. Of course, staying healthy is easier said than done, especially in solo queue because you don't know where your teammates are at all times. But again, try to take advantage of the HUD as much as possible, and you can try to see what your teammates are up to and see if you can find one that can heal you. If you're playing with friends, comms will be very useful and will help you keep you and your teammates healthy. If you're at a point where you have 3 or less gens left, staying with a teammate to work on a gen together can help you. Because then you could take hits for each other and then find a safe tile or a safe loop or a safe area where gens have been completed so you guys can reset. Number 6. Be patient. There will be times when Myers gets a hit on you. You make it to a safe tile and then you won't see Myers come after you, but you suspect he's lurking behind a wall, waiting for you to leave that safe pallet to sneak up again and get another hit on you. If you suspect Myers is close by, be patient. Stay on the safe tile and try to waste some of his time by waiting for him to make a move. I know it sounds boring just sitting there waiting, but making him waste time will allow your teammates to pressure gens. Number 7. Myers breathes kinda heavily and you can hear him if he's close enough to you. If you manage to hear him and you have enough time, find the safe area before he can get to you. Number 8. The other important sound cues to recognize are when Myers goes from tier 1 to tier 2. This will tell you you're not playing against Scratch Mirror, and also when he goes from tier 2 to tier 3. Which will tell you you're not playing against Vanity Mirror. And lastly, when he goes from tier 3 down to tier 2. Which will tell you you're not playing against a permanent tier 3 Myers. More on this in a moment. Now let's talk about the third playstyle, which allows him to kill or Mori a survivor even if the survivor has not been hooked at all. The add-ons that allow him to do this are Tombstone Piece or Judith's Tombstone. Both of these add-ons make Myers have to stalk for longer to reach tier 3. Tombstone Piece takes 150% more stock than normal, and Judith's Tombstone takes 200% more. More on this in a moment. With the Tombstone Piece add-on, killing a survivor drains the evil within gauge, meaning Myers goes back to tier 2 and needs to stalk survivors again to get back to evil within 3 to be able to kill again. And the add-on Judith's Tombstone also grants the ability to kill, but doesn't regress the evil within gauge after Myers kills a survivor. Also, this add-on makes Myers move 9% slower, while Tombstone Piece does not affect his moving speed. Typically, Judith's Tombstone is accompanied by the add-on Fragrant Tuft of Hair, which grants Myers unlimited duration of evil within tier 3. Now let's talk counters. Paying attention to Myers' behavior early in the game can help you determine if he has either of these two Tombstone add-ons. If you notice that it's taking Myers quite a bit of time to get to tier 3, that's a good indication that Myers might have one of the Tombstone add-ons. Since Judith's Tombstone makes Myers move 9% slower than usual, Myers will most likely equip the perk Play With Your Food. If you notice he starts a chase with the Obsession and then leaves them and he repeatedly does this, it might be an indication that Myers has either of the Tombstone add-ons. Each time he starts and stops a chase with the Obsession, he gains a token of Play With Your Food, which allows him to gain 5% haste, up to a stackable 15% haste, making him move faster. You can recognize who the obsession is by looking at the HUD and identifying the survivor with the big tentacles around them. When those tentacles start to move, that means they're being chased by the killer. Identifying this early on is helpful because you can play around it with the next tips. Number 1. When Myers is in tier 3 and has these add-ons, he can kill you. In order to do that, he needs to be right next to you so he can get the prompt to kill. If he's not close enough, instead of killing you, he'll get a hit and put you in the dying state even if you're in full health. So here's 2 things you can do to avoid getting killed. A. Jump in lockers so you force him to grab you, and this way he doesn't get a chance to kill you. Try to loop Myers as much as you can, but if you've run out of resources, jump in a locker if you have one nearby. He won't get the prompt to kill you this way, and you force him to either hook or slug you if he really wants to wait for another opportunity to kill you. B. If you happen to be injured, force him to grab you off a pallet vault or a medium vault at a window. Or force him to have to hit you by fast vaulting a window. You can even force him to grab you off a gen. He can grab you off a gen even if you're healthy. You'll typically want to do this, grabbing you off of gen that is, if you don't want to risk him catching up to you while you try to get to a tile to loop. Sometimes there may not be any resources left near you, so staying on the gen will not give him the prompt to kill you. This is similar to forcing him to grab you off a locker. He won't get the kill prompt on his screen and he'll either have to hook or slug. Other than that, just work on gens and try to escape as fast as you can. And the 4th and last playstyle we'll cover is Myers with no tombstone, scratch mirror, or vanity mirror add-ons. All the other add-ons that Myers uses don't allow him to kill survivors while in tier 3. What he can do is put them in the dying state with 1 hit, even if the survivor is in full health. A couple of tips when playing against this. Number 1. A good Myers will constantly have his evil within tier 2 meter at 99%, ready to pop tier 3 as soon as he's close enough to a survivor so he can get a little bit left of stock to tier up and then down them with 1 hit. Keeping this in mind, don't play greedy. It's not like playing against tier 1 Myers, but you can greed a little more. Number 2. Respect the terror radius. At tier 2, Myers' terror radius is only 16 meters as opposed to the usual 24 or 32 meter terror radius like other killers. This being the case, as soon as you hear the terror radius or spot Myers, run to a safe tile to loop so he doesn't sneak up on you. The reason for this is because he might be at 99% tier 2, so if he sneaks up on you, he'll quickly tier up to tier 3 potentially and then get an easy hit on you. So respect that terror radius. Myers could even use the add-on Dead Rabbit by itself to reduce his terror radius by 25% as we saw before. So pay attention to his terror radius and dip as soon as you hear it. Number 3. One common build variation of the normal tier 3 Myers is Fast Vault Myers. Myers has 3 different movement speeds for his vault action. At tier 1, it takes him 1.7 seconds to complete the vault action, which is the default vault speed for all killers. At tier 2, it takes Myers 1.48 seconds, and at tier 3, it takes him 1.275 seconds. Using perks that allow any killer using them to increase the vault speeds can make Myers a speedy vaulter. The perk Bamboozle makes killers vault 15% faster. The perk Fire Up gives killers a 4% speed bonus for different actions, including vaulting, for every gen repaired, meaning maxed out, killers can get up to 20% faster vault speed when all gens are repaired. And the perk Superior Anatomy can increase vault speed by 40% when a survivor fast vaults within 8 meters from the killer. All these maxed out and combined with Myers' vault speed at tier 3 make him a crazy fast vaulter. A player using Myers doesn't necessarily run all these together, but some may take advantage of the default vault speeds at tier 3 and may combine it with some of these perks and catch you by surprise, so keep this in mind. If you'd like to watch how to counter other killers or more survivor tips in general, you can click on the video thumbnails on the left hand side of your screen. If you'd like to be notified when I post my next video, subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to share any other tips to keep in mind when playing against Myers, please share them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.